In this tutorial, I'd like to run through some of the capabilities the Access has when processing external audio. To the side of the Access, we have a TR-505 drum machine. We're going to begin playback on that. And we've got the MIDI out of the TR-505 coming into the MIDI in of the Access, so we can fire off our envelopes with the drum sounds. We've got the audio out of the TR-505 plugged into the audio input. In oscillator A, we've got external selected, and in our wave C, we've also got external selected. So we could use the level of either A or C in the mixer section to bring in that external audio and pass it through the filter. So let's go ahead and bring that up. Okay, right now we've got the filter set for a low pass response. Let's just, and we've got no modulation happening in the filter section at this point. We can increase the resonance. Let's try the bandpass. High pass. And notch. Now notice with notch, when we turn the resonance down, the cutoff has no effect on that audio passing through. As we increase the resonance control, we're basically creating a little parametric EQ for the audio that's passing through the filter. So we can boost just specific frequencies if we like. Let's go back to our low pass setting. Also in the amplifier section here, we're just using the attack decay envelope type. We've got a fast attack time, a short decay time. Let's go ahead and brighten that filter up. One thing you can do is turn down your decay time and increase the attack time. And now you're getting a sort of reverse type drum sound effect just due to the envelope and the way it's shaping the drum's amplitude. There's a lot of different things we can do to the audio once it's coming into the unit. We could pass it through the ring modulator, and ring modulate, in that case we would set up oscillator A to bring the audio in, oscillator B to be our modifying frequency for the ring modulator. We'd set up oscillator C to be our ring modulator and turn that level up. And right now we've got a sine wave happening here, and we're modifying oscillator B's frequency with the LFO. And the LFO is set to a sample and hold waveform, and its frequency is being synced to the MIDI clock coming in. We could change different waveforms, or we could vary the amount. Another little trick we can do is we can pass audio. Let's go ahead and get rid of this ring modulation, go back to external. You'll notice here I've got the waveform C output. It's not connected at this point, but I'm routing it to the filter output. Now I want to warn you that a lot of synthesizers do not want to have outputs connected to other outputs, but the Access is specifically designed so that it's got some protection in here so we can connect the outputs together, and what that's doing then is it's summing the output of waveform C to the output of the filter. So let's go ahead and select a bandpass, and let's go ahead and modulate the filter frequency with our oscillator C. So now we've kind of made that a metallic sound. But let's say we want to hear more of that original drum sound. Let's go ahead and plug our cable all the way in. So now we're getting a mix of what's happening in the filter plus the original waveform coming from the drum machine. Now let's go ahead and add some modulation from the LFO. and select sample and hold. And we could add some envelope modulation. Or we could just let's go ahead and unplug this. Right now we've got so much resonance. We're adding a little bit of a sine wave kick. We can select LFO, which is our sample and hold, to modify the cutoff frequency. Turn down the resonance a little bit. We could also apply a little bit of overdrive. Or we could introduce other tones. Let's go ahead and back this off. Let's go ahead and introduce some other tones into that. We can set oscillator A to a sawtooth waveform. Its frequency is being modified by the LFO. We can then select waveform B. Bring in oscillator B. Now other things we could do is we could take this external audio coming in here, take waveform C out, plug it into our oscillator modulation section. Let's go ahead and turn this down, turn this down. Now we're just going to be listening to the oscillator B. Let's turn that up. Now let's select external. Now we've got that frequency of our drum machine modifying oscillator B, and that's what we're listening to. We could then modify the filter cutoff with the LFO. Or we could plug in this modulation. Actually, we can leave this in here. Let's go to waveform C, because waveform C is our external audio. Let's turn this down. Now the drum machine, the waveform of the drum machine is modifying the frequency of the filter cutoff. Let's go ahead and mix the original sound in with that. Create some crunchy type drum sounds. Something else we could do is take our audio out. Instead of modifying the oscillator, let's go ahead and plug this into our gate input. So now the waveform, when it passes the 0 point, it's going to be triggering our envelopes here. Let's go ahead and set these. Let's go ahead and turn down the audio and just modify the resonant, the filter self-oscillating, we should say. And we can adjust our envelope shape. Bring in the original drums. And let's go ahead and select a different pattern here. Also, you'll notice we can overdrive the input of the filter or back it off and get a cleaner sound. Let's go ahead and remove all our modulations here. We could assign the LFO with a waveform, and since it's synced to MIDI clock, let's go ahead and bring that up. In bandpass mode, we're getting sort of a wah-wah effect. You also notice we've okay. Now let's say we want to add a little bit more modulation to that. We can take the velocity input and route that over to, let's say, waveform B. And now let's set our sustain level up, bring up the envelope amount, and now introduce the velocity. So oscillator B is going into our velocity, which is controlling the level of the envelope. The envelope is basically up all the time with the sustain up, but as we increase this attack time, we're getting a little bit of envelope shape as well. In addition, we can modify oscillator B's frequency. Let's go ahead and use the LFO. Now we're going to go set this back to sample and hold. Now you're getting a lot of nice tone variation. Let's go ahead and take this back out. Now our envelopes are firing by the MIDI notes coming from the TR-505 again. And we could introduce oscillator A. Maybe we want to modulate oscillator A with waveform B. By setting an envelope's time fast and modulating the cutoff frequency, we can add a little bit extra percussion to the beginning of each of those sounds. We can apply velocity coming from the drum machine to modify the amplifier, or we can have it trigger different envelope times as well. Lots to play with there. Just feel free to play with the frequencies, the way stuff is routing around through the filter or bypassing it with the trick we showed you. using the external audio to modulate oscillators or the filter cutoff, and there's so many possibilities for you to try, so play with it, have fun. Thanks.